So how should you prep your okra when you want to prepare Nigerian okra soup? Should you hand cut it? Should you grate it? Or should you blend it? This is a very good question because the way you prep your okra for okra soup determines what the soup will look like and what it will feel like in the mouth when you're eating a fufu meal with the soup. With so many okra soup recipes on YouTube that utilize these different methods of prepping the okra, it is important that you follow the correct recipe so that you can prepare the okra soup that your family and guests will enjoy. In Nigeria, all the methods of prepping okra are correct. You can hand cut okra, you can blend it, you can grate it. The method to use is very important though, because while some people cannot stand the crunchiness of hand cut okra in okra soup, others cannot even look at okra soup prepared with blended okra, not to talk of putting it in their mouths. From my experience, I've come to the conclusion that the way people prefer their okra prepped depends on which part of Nigeria they come from. It's regional. That's what I believe. I am Igbo from Eastern Nigeria, and I grew up in Eastern Nigeria as well. And while growing up, the only method I knew was hand cutting the okra. Yes, we can hand cut the okra, then control how slimy we want the okra in the soup by either bold cutting it or cutting it into tinier pieces. If you want the okra to stand alone in the soup, you cut it into large pieces. If you want the soup more slimy, more viscous, more mucilaginous, you chop them into very tiny pieces to release the slime. With hand-cut okra, you have control over the size you want to cut the okra. For this slim okra, I can make just 2 perpendicular cuts across the okra, then chop several times along the okra. I can also reduce or increase the length of my cuts when chopping. To make tinier cuts, I make 4 perpendicular cuts across the okra like this. Then slice thinly. In those days in the East, even the women in the market that prepped okra for their customers were hand cutting them. If the okra is the coarse variety, some people would cut it first, then pound it a bit in a mortar to release the slimy substance before adding it to the soup. These days, they use graters in the markets or food processors at home to make it faster. So if you are preparing okra soup for an Igbo person or someone that grew up in Eastern Nigeria, it is most likely that the person will prefer okra soup prepared with hand-cut okra or at most grated okra. The resulting okra soup is crunchy so long as the okra is not overcooked. And how slimy the soup will be depends on the method you use when preparing the soup. There are so many ways to influence how slimy the okra will be. Those from Cross River and Akwa Ibom states, I know you guys are also from the East, but what is the classic way for prepping okra when you want to prepare okra soup? Do you hand cut it, do you grate it, or do you blend it? Please let me know in the comments. I would really like to know. The first time I saw blended okra was in Lagos, Nigeria, and I quickly learned that it is common all over Western Nigeria. You chop the okra a bit, then blend it. Some people just blend it till it looks like this. Others blend all the way till it looks like green ogbono. Either way, the okra soup prepared with blended okra is so slimy, so viscous, so mucilaginous and mushy. I assumption that when you want to prepare okra soup for someone from Western Nigeria, the person will most likely prefer okra soup prepared with blended okra. Is this assumption correct? And I would like to know, before the advent of blenders, how did you achieve the blended effect? Like, did you use grinding stone? Did you use mortars to make it look like blended okra? Another method, the third method of prepping okra, is grating the okra. I first learned about grated okra when I went to Port Harcourt. Yeah, it's very common over there. People grated their okra at home, and the market women that helped their customers prep okra in the market used graters to grate it. Grated okra is somewhere between hand-cut okra and blended okra. You just use this side of the grater and grate. Owners of restaurants, market women who prep okra for their customers, and caterers who cook food in large quantities use this method because it gives the hand-cut effect and they feel it's faster than using a knife. Some people also use food processors to do this. The okra soup prepared with grated okra is moderately slimy. You can control the sliminess only to an extent when preparing the okra soup. You can see that the grated okra is a little bit slimy even before going into the pot. I will not end this video without talking about dry okra. Dry okra is very common in northern Nigeria because up there they have a lot of sun, so they chop the okra, dry it in the sun till crunchy dry, and then they store it, and when they want to prepare okra soup, they take from their storage and prepare the soup. My grandmother, who is from eastern Nigeria, used to do this as well, but that practice is not common anymore. With dry okra, the okra soup is not slimy. Even if you notice a little bit of sliminess, it's not stretchy slimy like you would get when you use fresh okra. So those from the north, the Arewa family members, how do you prepare fresh okra? Like, how do you hand cut it? Do you grind it? Do you grate it? How do you prepare it? Because I'm not sure. Please let me know. So which one is my favorite method? My favorite method is hands down hand cut okra, because the soup looks more appetizing and I love the crunchiness of hand cut okra in okra soup. I can manage the okra soup prepared with grated okra, especially if it is that okra soup and stew combo that is common in western Nigeria. But blended okra, no. I'm not used to it. Yeah, it's too slimy for me, it's too mushy for me. If I want to prepare a soup that is that slimy and mushy, I'll prepare ogbono soup, or I'll add some ogbono to my okra soup to get the ogbono and okra soup combo. I know that these days with the internet, most of us have tried the different methods. So which one is your favorite? Do you prefer hand-cut okra, blended okra, or grated okra? Let me know below. Bye bye. See you in the comments.